It's back, folks. Well, actually, it never left. Let's be honest. This is the one that waiting for the injector to show up for. That wasn't going to record that process. Called the customer, said, hey, need an injector. He said, hey, fix it. He also says, well, it's in there. If you guys go to the shop, just give them the whole list. Don't surprise us with the well, it's in there. He was probably dipping his toe in the water, seeing if we're able to diagnose it, would be my assumption. New customer, never been here. So he also said, well, it's in there, needs an inspection. My daytime run lights don't work. My high beams don't work. Can you do an oil change? All that stuff. I'm sure, waiting on parts anyways. Let's look into the high beams. I'm pretty certain that these have some issues with the tipple. That doesn't, it typically I think is in control of the high beams. It sounded familiar. I think I've ran across this before, but let's just check that out. We'll diagnose this as well. Whether or not we can fix it is to be determined. So let's get started. Step one, see if the lights work. I probably should verify this before I even started the video. All right, looks like we got a couple lights. That is low beam, and that's high beam. And that's me flashing them from high to low. The high beam indicator is working inside the vehicle. Like right there, I'm flashing them on and off. The indicator inside the car is lighting up, but nothing outside of the vehicle. So he did say he got on the YouTubes and it was a fuse. Apparently the daytime runners and the high beams use the same fuse, so he said it's probably the fuse. We'll come up with our own answer here. Don't let something like this fool you, because you could have two blown bulbs. Seen it a dozen times. So before taking things to the stupid level, our headlight is a regular run-of-the-mill headlight, an incandescent bulb, like our test light. And we're going to take and unplug. It does not appear to be new. It's a classic H11 that I cannot unplug. I don't want to take the bulb out and risk getting my greasy meat nuggets on it if it's good still. Ouch, you friggity frig hole. Let's see, we're hooked to battery ground, so anything we touch that has power should light up. You guys are about to learn a lesson. We have power there. And we're gonna hook the test light to battery plus. Who remembers Google Plus? Whoa, dude. Anything we touch that as a ground should light up. And it does. Valuable lesson number one. It could be just two bulbs bad, dude. Wow. Two dumb videos in a row. So I went upstairs, grabbed us a couple H11s. This here, you can tell by its silver tip and by the brightness of the low beam, this is a Sylvania. It's probably the Sylvania Silver Star Ultra, which are ultra great lights to use. They just don't last an ultra long time. Worth installing as standard. 1255 H11 from Napper. Don't touch it with your greasy mitts. Stick it in. Ooh. Plug it up. I saw the light. I saw the light. No more darkness. And survey says we're going to come over here. We're not even going to do an electrical check on this one. We're just going to slip the bulb out. And we're going to notice that it's black. Visual inspection is going to be key on this one. Wow. I'm going to post this video because let it be a lesson to you. This reminds me of a story. Here's a little story about, okay, let's talk about it for real. Had a customer one time, I think I've mentioned this perhaps, or maybe I thought of it. Guy lived across town, older fella, and let there be light. We saw the light and we said it was good. Older fella, lived across town, was getting up in years and getting a little bit forgetful, and would often leave the door open on his GMC Sonoma 2001 black with a extended cab. I remember the vehicle. And he'd often leave his door open, lights would stay on, battery was constantly going dead. Well, he would go over, he'd stick the charger on it, and get her going again. Well, one day he went over, stuck charger on it, set it to nuclear, went over, started the car, came and saw me. Eric, I got no lights. I got no high beams, we got no brake lights, we got no lights at all. Well, the battery was so junk from being dead so many times, when he throw the charger on it and stick it at 250 amps, this thing's like, 19 or 20 volts. It was really terrible. It turns the key on, blows every bulb in the whole car. Just every bulb went up in smoke. They thought it was some, major electrical, but indeed it was just a bunch of bad bulbs. Results of, getting older, I guess. And shouldn't have been driving, but it's one of those situations where nobody wants to tell him to not to drive. Finally ended up smashing it up and hitting so many things he couldn't drive anymore. So there's that. High beams work, folks. I guess the moral of the story is don't assume. Don't assume. Well, we'll leave this story, the moral here. Don't assume it's major electrical. It needs a brain box. It needs a tip-em. It needs a wiring harness. Just, start with the basics, folks. You guys keep it real.